Hey everybody, welcome to House Calls, the podcast. Matt, how you doing?
Ty, I'm well, buddy. How are you?
Good. Is this kind of our release before Thanksgiving edition?
This is our before the Black Friday, you know, all the mayhem that comes with Thanksgiving. This is it.
Are you a go out and shop on Black Friday kind of person?
I am not. No, I am not.
Is your
You?
family?
No.
Okay.
You guys? No.
No, not really. And now it's
Yeah.
kind of funny because isn't most shopping done online these days?
Yes. Yeah. But and now all like you keep getting these ads, all the Black Friday stuff happened a week earlier.
Mhm.
So none of it makes sense. But I'm coming to you from South Carolina in our headquarters here in a laundry room.
Okay. So
Okay.
because you're
Just
doing
so
your laundry?
no, just because the acoustics and there's just too much noise in all the other rooms. It's the only quiet spot I could find that had a good internet connection.
Okay, so since I'm all about learning and
Yes.
trying to become wiser as I get old, do you separate your colors and your whites? Or is I remember like when I was a kid, people used to talk about that. I just watch everything on normal and I don't care. Does anybody still separate?
First off, when did you do your wash? And secondly, I don't separate.
Okay.
I
Uh,
mean, because Ty, I don't see color. I don't see anything. I just see everything as one.
is that a thing anymore though? Like where you
I
were
think it
worried
is.
that
I
your
don't know.
red was going to drip out and turn your white shirt pink?
It could. I think it is. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They still have those settings on the machines behind me. So yes.
Okay. So, once again, we are getting more emails into house calls.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah. It's
incredible with
crazy. It's
fan
crazy.
questions.
It
And
is.
so,
And you know what? I encourage them. And again, for all you that are listening, that's house calls the podcast at gmail.com to submit your questions and requests.
so a good question. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because we got this as an email, but also I've gotten it recently in the office. And it is
Okay.
basically what's the best way for an athlete? So we're talking high school, college athlete. Usually it's people going into their junior or senior year or going into college. What is the best way for them to lose weight?
Lose weight.
Lose weight.
Okay.
So I'm not a nutritionist, but I spent a ton of time studying nutrition, and I've spent a ton of time talking to athletes, and I've spent a ton of time talking to coaches. So I do feel like I have a little bit of background that
All
I could
right.
be helpful.
All
Okay.
right. Yeah, please.
So do
And
you
and
want
let's
to?
be honest, even if you didn't, right, in everything you talk about, you still have an opinion on everything. So
I do.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So I kind of have a long list here. But number one way to lose weight for an athlete: quit drinking. So that's
Oh,
getting kind
okay.
of serious. But the reason is, and when I say quit drinking, you can quit drinking or you can drink in moderation, but you do not
Right.
want to drink your calories. Alcohol has a
Ah,
lot of calories. Okay. And so that is an easy way to be like, hey, that's how you lose weight. And if you just drink water and like black coffee without a bunch of junk in your coffee, if you're a coffee drinker, you are going to lose weight. So that's number one. Okay.
got it. Check.
Num- Number two, get a lot of sleep. So
Okay.
if you are a teenager, you probably need 8 to 9 hours of sleep.
Huh.
There's even Ohani. Am I saying Ohani's name right? Like he sleeps 14 hours a day. So I think that's something that kids are sometimes up on their phones, they're watching Netflix, they're binging, and they're not
Right.
getting enough sleep. And there are people out there, like I know a 70-year-old doctor who's still taking like 10 calls a month. And one of his things is that he has always only needed 5 hours of sleep. But
Right.
that's a small subset. And I feel like a lot of teenagers convince themselves, oh, I only need 5 hours, I'm fine. But then they're complaining all the time about how tired they are.
Or or they just don't have the opportunity to sleep that long, right? There's obligations, there's homework, there's things like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
more sleep the better. Okay.
And there is
So all right, so we're not drinking, we're sleeping more. All right.
and there's a story where an NFL GM is talking about a potential draft prospect.
Okay.
And this is a little bit about choose your mentors or choose the people you look up to carefully. And he was like, this guy is going to be out till 3 in the morning drinking, carousing the night before the game, and he's still going to put up 120 yards of receiving and catch 2 touchdowns. And the GM was not going to draft him because he wasn't worried about that guy performing. He was worried about the other 5 guys that went out with him that were more mediocre talent who were going to play horrible because they were out till 3 in
Yeah.
the morning drinking. So
Okay.
don't choose as your mentor that one guy on the team who can break the rules. Kind of like don't choose Lawrence Taylor as your mentor. That guy was the greatest football player of all time. If you're more middle of the road, you probably can't pull that off.
That's fair. That's
Okay.
a good, yep.
So now just here's my actual diet advice. I already said that don't drink your calories,
Yep.
no sugary drinks. I have changed my like when I first started trying to eat healthier, I was a big like smoothie person and I was putting my
Right.
kale and spinach, but most of my smoothie was fruit. That's a ton of sugar. So
Yeah.
you probably can't handle that much sugar. Try to avoid that. Mostly your diet should be meat and veggies. Pretty straightforward, right? And fruit, but I would be careful if your metabolism's not great, you may not be able to handle a ton of fruit. So like normally it's like eat as much meat and veggies as you want and you'll lose weight. Fruit, some people can eat as much fruit as they want. Some people need to be careful. When I'm talking about sugar, you
Yes.
want to decrease your sugar. Most, if you're a kid, you're probably thinking sugars, candy, cookies, cakes. But really, once processed carbs hit your body, they're immediately turned into sugar. So I'm talking about like bagels, pizza, hamburger buns, that kind of stuff. Do not eliminate carbs completely if you're an athlete. Like that's not great. It will affect
Okay.
your endurance, but just make sure you're not a carbaholic where all you eat is carbs. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yep.
And the concept is the muffin, the Danish, it's all kind of junk. It's just going right to your body. What I've been doing a ton of right now is authentic sourdough bread. That's where I
Right.
get the vast majority of carbs. It's a healthier version of carbs, but also things like sweet potatoes are really super healthy for you. Um, the regular potatoes kind of neutral, but that's a good idea. Um, the next thing is people will say, should my child or should I be doing more cardio to lose weight?
Okay.
You cannot outrun a bad diet. Like if you
Okay.
just can't.
I hear it.
Like it's
Yep. Had to
you
think
need
about
to
that
be
one,
in
but yep.
shape, you need to have cardio, but that's not how you're gonna lose weight. Um, and then the one thing that I think you will notice is a lot of athletes, once they're done playing, that's when they lose weight. So think about like a lot of the kids we know that are like 25 or 26, and they're so small compared to what they were when they were in
Sure.
college and playing. And the reason I'm saying that is some athletes, when they retire, they get bigger. But now the trend is people are getting smaller. And honestly, when you're done playing, is that's the better time to be small. And my segue is before you go through this big effort to lose weight, is losing weight going to help you be better at your sport? It could hurt you.
Right. Right.
Like, so you might think, "Oh, I'm gonna lose weight because then I'll be able to run forever and I'll be able to, be in the greatest shape of my life," but potentially you'll be pushed around, so you could imagine situations where Ray Lewis was famous for constantly, like, adjusting his weight, and basically, if he had a great defensive line, he stayed small because he wanted to be able to move and cover a lot of
Right.
ground and make tackles. If he had a bad defensive line, he was fighting off centers and guards and he would gain weight. Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson did the same thing. Lamar Jackson felt like he was getting a little bit beat up, so he put on weight and then he started feeling like he was a little bit slow, so he lost weight. The point being is that maybe you should talk to your coach about what they think your ideal weight is because you don't want to lose 20 pounds and then all of a sudden you've lost your game because maybe you're a basketball forward and you're getting pushed out of the key, or maybe you're a lacrosse attackman and you get knocked down all the time.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, that's a huge number anyway, 20 pounds or whatever the number is. But yeah, I think talking to people, nutritionists, coaches, and seeing what's the best, what the ideal is for you and how to move forward to get there makes complete sense. So it's sleeping, not drinking, watching what you eat, watch the sugars, and don't cut out the carbs completely. I get it.
And people put so much effort into their sports these days with travel and time spent. It's like, don't forget that one thing that could be your superpower. That could give you an advantage over everybody else.
That's right. All right. Show your weight. Yeah. If you not being able to pushed around is a big advantage. So be able to hold your ground. I get it.
So our next topic we need to talk about is we need to finish up the letter last time, which was the famous Hunter question of John Cougar Mellencamp and Bruce Springsteen.
Correct. Yep. And the question was, who's a better musician? Is that was the question?
Yes. Yeah.
And I think we were both landed firmly on the Springsteen side of the coin.
Yeah. So here's my thought process. Is that when I first heard the question, I was like, that is a dumb question. Like, of course it's Springsteen. But then, and I'm gonna walk you through my thought process.
Oh God.
Then I was like, but Hunter knows a ton about music. So he is asking this question for a reason. So that made me pause and be like, all right, it's worth researching it. So I listened to a bunch of John Cougar Mellencamp tunes this week. I listened to most of his albums. I guess it was the last 2 weeks. And first of all, he has his top hits that I still remember, but there were
Sure.
so many other songs that I was like, these are really good. But in the end, I really think that a lot of Springsteen's like lesser known songs and lesser known albums are just so superior. And then Hunter listened to a bunch of Springsteen and he actually agreed. Okay.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're giving them the
Now,
data. You make your own decision. I think that's a perfect example.
okay. Now here's the thing. And I want to know if you know this or not. I was talking to this about Ann. I am not talking about Springsteen and John Cougar Mellencamp when I'm talking about why this matters. I'm basically saying when you have a question, and I grew up listening to Springsteen, so that has kind of brainwashed me a little bit. I told you about my childhood memories about Springsteen.
Yep.
I am fully in the Springsteen camp. But when
Yes.
somebody asks you a question or has a different position than you might want to think, hey, that person's made pretty good decisions in their life before. I'm not going to get all mad and angry and jump into my camp and be like, how could you ask that? How could you believe that? And then ultimately Hunter did change his mind and chose Springsteen. But there was like, we have a computer in our pocket. So I was able to just download all John Cougar's albums. I was able to look at the other side, look at my own biases. I didn't change my mind, but I certainly understood why Hunter asked the question. I understand why John Cougar Mellencamp is literally in the Hall of Fame. And I also picked up a bunch of great songs that he had. So we could look at any issue confronting us where people disagree. And maybe if you pull out the computer in your pocket and read everything about their side, maybe you don't agree with them, but you'll be more comfortable and you won't be ruminating and going to work angry because of something you read in the morning. Does that make sense?
100%. 100%. And that's the reason you're the doctor and you're a scientist and you do that legwork. It's paying off.
And what was I gonna say? I think the last one you said, now that you're on your soapbox. I mean, isn't this what
Yeah.
we're doing?
Yeah.
This is our soapbox and we're
This is it.
inviting guests to be on their soapbox.
Yeah, exactly. And then when we go against them or, we do the research and, start fresh, blank page, and you look at both sides and figure out where you land. So you got to go in eyes wide open to both sides of the coin.
And then I've had another request, and I actually thought about it, and I think in the DMV area, you and I could be the people to help with this, and I'm gonna put you
Okay.
on the spot. But there's a lot of talk this time of year, especially like in the operating room, like between cases, we talk a
Oh, I
lot
know.
about like
Yep.
the Ravens and the Commanders and all the football stuff.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people who are like, I don't want to commit all the time to watch a full game. And in
Yes.
reality, especially when the weather's nice, and in reality, nowadays you can get on your phone and watch the all the best plays in like a 5-minute video. And
Yes.
you may not want to commit to listening to in for the Ravens, it's 105.7, like on the way to work and on the way home to know every in and out about the team. So there's a lot of people who want to be in the conversations. And I think we should come up with one or two things each week, 2 to 3 each week, where somebody can sound really, really smart without knowing anything about football. Just throw out a
Okay.
couple sentences. So for
Right.
me, maybe mine would be like, hey, I'm worried about the pass protection, but it's because Justice Hill is a really good pass blocker and he's been out. So imagine you are in a Ravens conversation with true Ravens fans and you're not a fan at all. And you throw out hey, you think the Ravens are missing Justice Hill's pass blocking because he's out? They're going to think you have in depth
You're dialed
knowledge
in.
about the Ravens.
All right. I like that.
What would be
I like
yours?
that.
What would be
But
yours
well,
for the
well for the Commanders, but I also think, and I keep track of this. The most right now, commentators, the most overused two phrases, and this is college football and in professional, is physicality and pitch and catch. And so I think I would go somewhere along the race with, the Commander's physicality just isn't, where it needs to be at this time. And then I would throw out, Jaden Daniels just needs a receiver that they can just pitch and catch with, and then to see what goes from there. So
that would
yeah,
be good.
so that way you're using some lingo, using some jargon, and I think someone would think, oh yeah, he understands it, he follows it.
So I think we should have one line each week for the Ravens and the Commanders. That could be our shtick.
Okay. All right. I like it. Commanders are on a bye this week. So hopefully the Commanders are resting up because they're really going to need their physicality for their, end of the season push.
I like that.
Yep. There you go.
For the Ravens, I would say, I know Harbaugh's been here a long time and he gets a little stale, but his teams never quit on him.
You're right.
They
Did
were
he get
one and
someone
five.
involved,
They never
Harbaugh?
quit.
No.
His
That's a
post-game
tradable.
speech was like, maybe we should have him on House Calls. His post-game
We
speech
should.
after Cleveland, which was kind of a very ugly game. And he came in and he was like, in 150 years of NFL football, this was the greatest win in the history of football. And like everybody's chuckling, but it was just that attitude of like, hey, a win's a win. You just got to get
That's right.
through it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's, that's the reason he's so successful, right? Is he can just kind of parse it down and say, we're not quitting and we're moving forward. We all know it was ugly, but we got the W. That's all we need. What
Okay.
a trait that is.
So now heading into Thanksgiving, are you ready
Yeah,
to
man.
talk about gratitude?
Always.
Okay.
I love gratitude.
What do you want to talk about? What are you grateful for this year?
What am I grateful for this year? On a serious note, I'm very, always grateful for family.
Uh,
And as you know, my mom's been sick or was diagnosed with ALS last February. And so, her time is short, and I'm just very grateful for having, her as my mom, and grateful that she's the grandmother to my kids, mother-in-law to my wife, who they're all very, very close. And, it's just, I'm you know, just grateful to have this opportunity to have her in my life. So that's really where all my gratitude is right now. I've got gratitude for that. I've got gratitude for this is episode 52. And so I'm very grateful for the 52 episodes we've done, and the people that we've talked to and the things I've learned and things I've shared. So I'm nothing but gratitude right now.
I am grateful for my ability to be crying on the inside, but not have tears coming down on the outside. It's like, it's actually a special skill that I built up, but that almost got me.
Yeah,
Like,
it was getting
the
me.
goosebumps. Yeah.
It was getting me, and I ratcheted it back. This would be another time that I've almost cried and had it this time. Another episode where I had to cut it out, but whatever.
Well, I am the same thing. I was thinking about that as Thanksgiving's coming up, and I am grateful about family because I'm so grateful that like I'm so excited that my kids are coming home, right?
Yes.
And this happens to be a year where all 8 of us will be together, because, 2 of my kids are married. They'll be we're gonna get into
Yep.
the alternating year thing that everybody deals with, but this is the year they're all there. But it's not so much that whether they're there this year or the next year or whatever, it's more that I'm just so excited that we're all together and how much we actually enjoy being together,
Yep.
is great. And it doesn't mean that everything's perfect all the time. We don't have little things here or there, but it just your overall general feeling is I love being with my family. I love being with my extended family. So that means like all the, I mean, I think you've seen from the lineup of 52 episodes how many people have been related to me. So I am very blessed at my immediate family, my extended family, meaning my mom, my sister's family, and then beyond that with all my cousins, and then beyond that with my second cousins, and then beyond that with my cousin's cousins. I am very lucky with that.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's why Thanksgiving for me is my favorite holiday,
Yeah.
bar none, bar none.
I do notice a little bit, and this is just about, I guess, kind of like being positive or negative, or about being an optimist or a pessimist. Is that sometimes when you're hearing people about the holidays, they start off with the negative of, if you don't have that great family relationship. And I'm like, let's start with a positive. Kind of like, I
Yeah,
think maybe you don't have that great family relationship, but maybe you build that family relationship. Like maybe
that's right.
your family, you're the generation that starts that tradition, so that when you're old, you can look around and be like, oh wow, look what I helped create, kind of.
And I think that goes back to the Cougar, Springsteen thing, right? Maybe
Yeah.
look at it from both sides and see what, what your role is that you're not getting along or whatever the deal is. But, yeah, you gotta look at it from both sides. But anytime I get all 5 of us underneath the same roof, same thing. It's a win.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy. Then we're down here in South Carolina with my parents, so we'll be here all week, and so very excited.
Yeah.
Very, very excited.
Um, what else are you grateful for?
What else? I mean, I don't know. I feel, I don't know. I mean, there's so many other things, but I don't know. I'm just so filled with gratefulness for those big things that I feel selfish or greedy for asking for anything else. But life is, knock on wood, life is hard, but life is good. And just having some great conversations with everybody and just kind of getting, you know, just sharing emotions and stuff. I'm a okay with all that.
So I read this morning, which was funny because I didn't actually know we were talking. Like, I didn't know what your plan was for the gratefulness discussion. And literally, I read this quote today: "Thankfulness takes the sting out of adversity."
Boom.
Boom. So that has been kind of a theme of house calls,
Absolutely.
is enjoying the adversity. We've talked a lot about, like, you learn more from your failures than your successes, and all those uh, different things.
Sure.
Um, and being thankful for adversity is something that, like, I feel like older people will often look back at their lives and be like, every one of these adversities led me to where I am now, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. Um, Now the question is, how can you get that mentality when you're young or middle aged, that, like, when you're in the thick of the adversity, to be like, this is going to make me better.
Right. But I think that's the benefit of older age because that's the only time you can see it, right? You never know it when you're in it. You
Uh-huh.
have to be able to take a step back. But I agree with 100% with that, comment about being able adversities where you never learn anything on prom night is what I always used to say in A means. It's always when this shit hits the fan, that's when you learn about yourself and learn something. You know, back to the gratitude part and to that thankfulness. I'm preparing myself for the loss of my mom.
Mhm.
There's just no way around it.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been my sister actually gave me this or suggested this podcast by Anderson Cooper.
Okay.
um, Anderson Cooper, I don't know if you know his story, but his story with his father died when he was 10 of a heart attack. Anderson's older brother was 2 years older, died by suicide. Literally jumped off the balcony of their condo in New York in front of their mother, and so he's dealt with a lot of grief and tragedy. And then 4 or 5 years ago, his mother Gloria Vanderbilt passed away. She was in her 90s. So anyhow, he's never really dealt with grief. He says he's always jumped into war zones and things like that because, to avoid talking about feelings, but just kind of jumping in. So he gets in, and it's called Anderson Cooper. Are we there? I believe. But anyhow, he talks to different celebrities about how they've handled grief, and he has a great one with him and Stephen Colbert. And the takeaway is grief is the only universal emotion or feeling that doesn't matter where you are in the world, anywhere in the world, everyone has grief. No, there's loss, and that's okay because you can't take all the good things without some of the bad things. And you should be grateful that you get that. You get to feel loss because you're just as grateful to get the good stuff. And if you kind of look at it, and that's the way I'm trying to look at this, like I'm so grateful for all of this, that loss is going to hurt, but I'm just more grateful than anything else. And that's really, it's been helpful very, very much, uh, to teach me gratitude and thankfulness. And this is when you learn it, when stuff is bad. So I'm okay
Yeah.
with the good and the bad times.
It's to like with parenting, we had the guest Chuck Baldecki on, head of
Yes,
school. Uh, he used to write an essay to basically the whole school, and he wrote an essay about the sweet spot.
that's
Um,
right.
and it was about parenting, and he was at an age where his kids thought he was his kid's hero, basically. He was in the sweet spot, like, everything was incredible in his family life, but he knew that when kids are teenagers, it's always not always easy to have your dad be the head of the school kinda thing. So he
Right.
knew that he was in a sweet spot, and that has always stuck with me because I always think about the sweet spots, and, like, you look at certain times in your life and you go down your checklist and you're like, everybody in your family's doing well, everything's good, you're in the sweet spot. And the question is when you're in the bad part, uh, how do you remind yourself that another sweet spot's coming? It's like you're gonna be in the sweet spot again. And like sometimes there's a mix of the sweet spot. Like your situation you're going in through now is also why your family is a little bit more in the flow probably and a little bit more focused on the present and being together, and
Yep.
you're probably not gonna argue if one of your in-laws is a Steelers fan. Like, and you're or not a Cowboys fan for you. You're a Commanders fan, a Cowboys fan, and obviously I'm not talking about Cowboys and Commanders, but you getting what I'm saying.
I get it.
You're gonna
You're
focus
fine.
on the real things that like
Yeah,
the
that's
family
so true.
memories, the future, the family that your mom has created basically.
Yeah,
Like it
totally. Right
doesn't
on.
happen that everybody wants to be together and enjoy each other's company in the holidays without leadership coming from the top.
That's exactly right. No, and that's the legacy, right? And that's the gift that my parents have laid for myself and my brother, sister, and their family. So very grateful.
With the being thankful for adversity, as we conclude the reading challenge, there's a great book called by Jocko Wilkes, the Navy SEAL. He was a
It's the
Navy SEAL commander,
Yep.
and he was actually the commander for a lot of these famous Navy SEALs that we listen to in podcasts and all that kind of stuff. But he has a book called Extreme Ownership.
I literally am reading that right now. I swear
It
to God.
it is so good, and it's such a great attitude. And there's two takeaways that I have. The one is always blame yourself, like take ownership. Like if something goes wrong, it's your fault. And I know that sounds like a lot of pressure and you're being negative, but like, no, just fix stuff yourself. Be like, I'll fix that. And that is a great attitude to have in life because then you also can decide and be like, I'm not gonna if I'm mad about something that's going on in the world, am I gonna put the energy out to fix it? Or am I just gonna complain? If you're gonna just complain, then it's probably not important enough to you because you're not going out to try to fix it. Now, some things you can't fix by yourself, but you can, move one grain of sand at a time. But he also talks about how any adversity, he's like, good, I'm going to learn from this and move on. So if you're looking at every adversity and trying to find the positive, how it's going to make you and your family stronger, you could say that's a definitely going to get you farther in life than feeling sorry for yourself.
Always, always moving forward and being proactive is always better than sitting back and whining. 100%.
Yeah. And
So,
I think that's a good book to read to kind of
yep.
reset your mind about that.
I think you're spot on, and I just started it 2 days ago. So, again, yeah, that's funny you mentioned that.
What book
It's
did you
scary
just
how much
finish?
I finished A Marriage at Sea, and it was a very interesting story that a friend of mine recommended to me about this married couple in 1972, uh, left from the UK, and they were going to sail around the world, and they were in a 30-foot sailboat that they basically made. And early on in the trip, a whale. There's a whale came up, and it was actually gotten harpooned by a fishing boat, and it came across their bow and sunk their boat. and how they survived for the next 4 months plus months in 2 life rafts until they were picked up by a shipping vessel. It was crazy. It was really interesting.
So that sounds great. I thought when you said Marriage at Sea, you were talking about our good friend Phil McIntyre's marriage because I was the reverend for his marriage on a boat in the
That's
river.
what I thought too. That's what I thought.
Okay.
And I was totally shocked. I did not
Okay.
remember there being a whale on the Severn River,
Yeah.
and that was amazing.
Okay. Good. That's a good book.
As
So I just finished the sequel to Beartown,
Oh,
which
did you?
was, huh?
Did you? Because I read Beartown because of you.
Yeah, so I just finished the sequel, which was really good, and it's funny though, because there were parts of it where I was like and this ties into what we said, I think sometimes I read stuff or watch movies and I just want the happy ending. So, like,
You love happy
in
endings,
the sequel to Beartown, which is called, like, Us Against You or Us Against the
right?
World or something, I forget what it's called, there is really some of the characters have a happy ending, some of the
Oh,
characters have a
finally,
very sad ending, and I'm like, that's life. This the author is not there to make me like, that's not why he wrote the book, to have
right,
me have
right.
a book where
Just
everybody
for
ends
you.
up
He didn't do
happy.
it just for you. That's funny.
Yes.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
That's really weird. Well, no, I will. That'll be on the list after I finish Extreme Ownership.
And
So,
then we're watching Landman.
oh yeah,
Have you watched Landman?
I have.
Okay, so my comment about this is, have you ever wondered why some actors make it and some actors don't make it? And have you ever been curious about like that? Like, how
Sure,
much talent does it actually take?
sure.
And sometimes you're like, well, couldn't anybody recite those lines? And Landman really, really stands out for to me as somebody who's a total amateur. I was in the King is wearing no clothes or the King has no clothes in the fourth grade, and that was the
Okay.
highlight of my acting career. Um, Billy Billy Bob Thornton is amazing. And, I couldn't, like, I'm just like, the way he plays that character is amazing, and the other one is John Hamm, is like John
Yeah.
Hamm's role is not quite as big, but just the expressions on his face, like, you feel the stress of that guy's life the entire time. I it just really there's a lot of things where I'm like, "Well, I could do that job or I could do that job." There's no way I could act like some of those actors, like, it's amazing.
And Billy Bob Thornton is amazing, and as is John Hamm. But I can't get past Billy Bob's toupee or whatever that thing is he has on his head, the bleached blonde hair thing, and that he gets this smoke show of a wife. It just doesn't add up.
Yeah,
But I like him and I like the show, so it's good escape.
okay.
So well, good. Well, I'm grateful for more Landman too.
So we're highly recommending that show?
Yeah,
You're
absolutely,
highly recommending your
absolutely.
book?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. Yep. And I highly recommending another great year of more interesting podcasts and recommend House Calls the podcast for you to subscribe and like and follow along. All right, buddy. Happy
alright.
Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you. All
See
right,
ya.
man.
Bye.
Later.